Today we're here on trials for Project Petrol, which is a combat clothing project aiming to enhance ballistic protection of the troops. We're looking at that in a real life situation, getting troops to wear the kit and getting feedback from them to see their thoughts on it so that we can make sure that we procure the best kit for the soldiers. So it's really important when we're running competition of kit to see how it affects the soldiers. It's all well and good to sit behind a computer and do it in the office, but until we see the actual effect it has on a person, we don't really know how they'll react with it, which is why we do 3 different sets of trials for petrol. So we did one in a hot weather climate in Kenya to see how they reacted in a different environment. We also do the human factors integration, where we sort of look more at how it affects them in different movements, and then this is a sort of the best example of a real life situation for them. So one of the things I really enjoy about working in survivability is our projects have quite a short turnaround time. I came in 6 months ago, during which time Project Petrol was still in the invitation to tender stage, which meant we'd just heard back from 5 different suppliers on what they had offered as a solution for petrol. Now 6 months in, we've narrowed it down to 2 and we're out in the trials. It's nice to know that the kit that we procure will actually make a difference to soldier survivability out in the field, and that's what we can see today.
So this plate, many of you will be familiar with it. It's a plate from the Osprey body armour system. This particular one was worn on patrol in Afghanistan and was worn by a soldier in the Royal Welsh Battle Group. They were on patrol near Kandahar in a patrol of about 80 personnel, and they were using WMIC and Snatch, lightly armoured and protected vehicles. They were ambushed. It was a complex ambush by the enemy forces, involving small arms, mortars, rocket-propelled grenades, and so on. And as you can imagine, there was a pretty fierce firefight. And during that, the soldier who was wearing this was not only hit by small amounts of shrapnel, but critically he was shot on the plate on 3 consecutive occasions, obviously in rapid succession. And the plate worked. Ultimately, it whilst he suffered some minor injuries, you can see where the rounds hit, and you can see from looking at the back of it that nothing made it through. And if he hadn't been wearing this, he wouldn't have come home, is the bottom line.
So it was 2012 on Herrick 16, there was an incident in a place called Yak Chow near Poppers Eye. We were on an op, an attack op. It initially kicked off about 05:30 in the morning, and we'd been in sporadic contacts up until about 1 o'clock when we drove over an IED in a Jackal platform, smashed the vehicle up into the air, brought it down again, dropped it into a ditch. For myself and the crew, it was just a big flash and then dust to the point that we couldn't see anywhere, we couldn't even see each other at the time. Made a massive hole in the ground, dropped us into it. First thing I did is I felt down, make sure my legs were still there, and then move on to the rest of the crew. I suffered no injuries. My driver had a back injury, and my top gunner, his braces in his teeth had actually rattled out. The vehicle, which was V-plated underneath, it sent a lot of the shocking explosion out, and I think that's what probably saved a lot of lives on the vehicle. And at the time we were wearing Osprey body armour, I think it was Mark 4 Osprey and Mark 7 helmets, ballistic eyewear as well, which would have stopped a lot of dust and parts going into our eyes and that, which does work quite well. The Osprey was good, and it does save a lot of lives. It was pretty robust. We were out on foot a lot, and we got used to it pretty much like a second skin.
STSP is Soldier Training and Special Programs. There are 4 teams within that, of which Dismounted Close Combat is one. And then within Dismounted Close Combat, we're split into smaller groups, and survivability is one of those. So we look at both procuring new projects and also the in-service support of anything that's directly related to the soldier, what the soldier wears. So for example, Virtus body armour is brought in by our team, and we now continue to support it as in-service support. Anything basically that the soldier directly uses and enhances their protection and boosts their survivability.